welcome to another episode of Second Chance Living with Dr. Karen. What an exciting time we are going to have. We have had the most phenomenal guests that have been on with us, and what you all may or may not know is because Second Chance Living was actually a vision of mine that was given to me by God quite a few years ago. And now I have established a company around that brand. And one thing I wanted to do was always introduce people that I feel have words of encouragement. They've been accomplished and their story is inspirational. And it's important for everyone to know that there's always a beginning to everything. You still have chances to start again and where you are in your life. And what I always tell people is if you're living, if you're breathing, you always have a second chance. So today I have some very good friends of mine that I'm very honored to have. God has placed them in our family's lives. Their names are Eric and Lisa. They are a couple that I'm going to introduce to you, and they have done some wonderful things. And I want to put them on right now and introduce you to them. So Eric and Lisa, are you there?
Yeah, hi.
Hello, how are you? So Eric, I will have you and Lisa. I know Lisa's name, but I'm going to give you a chance. I know this gentleman's name, but I told him I will not be the one who messed up somebody's last name. Please let me know your last name.
Harabadian.
Okay, and Lisa?
Lisa Hagopian.
Hagopian, yes. Okay, two names with a lot of heritage and a lot of things behind it, and we will sure get back into that. But I wanted to first kind of get with you all. Eric, I know for a long time you have been a lover of music, a lover of jazz, and that is something that we connected with somewhat with the music and things that my dad loved. Tell me about your history with jazz and how that started with you.
Well, it started back when I was a kid, probably like early 60s. My dad introduced me to jazz, actually. I remember the record. It was Shelly Manne Trio. It was music from the play Little Abner. And it was like a trio album and like acoustic jazz, and I loved it, you know. And then as I got older, it just always was a sound that connected with me. And as I got older, I just started exploring more jazz music, the fusion sound. Later on, WJZZ came on the scene, and I was listening to that and public radio. And so it's been like with me my whole life.
Oh, that's wonderful. And look, the history of mine is that my dad also listened to jazz a lot when I was very young. And I used to laugh about it because I would hear certain songs and I would be like, what is that? All that little music and all that. But as soon he introduced me to music that nobody really heard here because he had music that came out overseas from him being in the Air Force. So Sadao Watanabe, Miles Davis, I heard a lot of things that weren't introduced here, a lot of albums. And then I myself ended up working for WJZZ. It was one of my first opportunities in media. So I worked there and I became close with a lot of jazz artists. And I already had a connection with entertainment from my father and my godfather, who was one of the bigger DJs in the city. But jazz has a big history. It has a rich history. And now also, Eric, you also have a public relations company. Am I correct?
Yeah, Media Stew PR.
Okay.
And
and you working mainly with jazz?
different artists. I have an artist, Sam Sherwin. He's a singer-songwriter from New Jersey, and he does like rock and blues and that kind of stuff. And then there's a band I work with called the Galactic Cowboy Orchestra. They're kind of like a jazz fusion, progressive rock group. They're from Minnesota, St. Paul. And Anissa Leah, she's a young artist that I've done some work with, some promotion stuff. She's a a young, like 17-year-old singer, jazz singer in the Detroit market, and she's great. And and then of course, also I got to mention Bobby Balderrama, who, if anybody remembers Question Mark and the Mysterians, the hit 96 Tears, he's a great guitarist that I've known for years, and we'll get into it later, but he's in our first documentary film. Anyways, he does smooth jazz type stuff. He's got a number of albums out, and I've done some promotions for him too. So those are like some key people that I've worked with of late.
Okay, wonderful. So I want to get into you guys and all the wonderful things that you have been doing. Lisa, did you also have a background with music, or have you been working mainly with film? What has been your kind of like your interest up to now?
My background in music was I played violin in school up until 12th grade. And piano a little bit. I didn't continue after school, but I have an appreciation for different styles of music because I have that base education and knowledge in music. Film, my interest in film actually started back in school as well. I took film appreciation classes. In college, I started a little bit. I took photography classes as an elective in my senior year at Michigan State, and here and there, just a few video and film classes.
Okay. So now we're going to come to the big part, and I am so proud of this with you guys. These two people, everybody, have come into the world of documentaries, and I believe you guys on your third. You just released your third. Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell us about the first one and what that involved. I know it involved a lot of artists from the Detroit area. Am I correct?
Yeah, primarily, yes.
It was called Nothing But Music, and it featured local working class musicians. And what we mean by that is that people who don't have day jobs to fall back on, and they are using their music careers as a way to make a living, to get by. And we featured, speaking of jazz, Alexander Zonjic, Benny from the band Benny and the Jets, Howard Glazer is a blues guitarist, and Eliza Neals. And many others.
Bobby Balderrama.
Yeah, Bobby Balderrama was in our
first film.
Okay.
And so we followed them, we talked to them, we asked them what was their idea of success, and we were pleased with it.
Great. Now, are people able to, and we can talk about this more, but are people able to find an opportunity to look at that one or any of them, like on a website or anything?
Yeah, Nothing But Music is available on Vimeo.com.
Okay.
And, I can mention like some of our other projects too.
If you go to our website, vision561.com, there's links to each film where they can view the film. I think you have to rent the films for like $2-3 or something like that. But yeah. So on our website, there's links to go and view the films.
Okay, I love Alexander Zonjic, and that was, I love people that you named. I knew, but he's someone I met early at WJZZ, and I had a chance to actually go over to Canada, be with him, and along with his mother. And I'm not sure if she's living now, but she was a wonderful person, and she wanted to cook a big dinner and all this. We had a good time. And I have seen him lately, maybe the last 4 or 5 years. He did some work for Inkster Public Schools. When I was working there, he appeared there and did some things for the school. So let's hear about the second one. Tell us all about that.
Okay, and then we had a follow-up film a few years. Nothing But Music came out in 2016. Then we followed up in 2019 with Paradise Boogie, and that focused on the Detroit blues scene, and in particular, we focused on a young, well, at the time, now he's going to be 15, and he looks like he's like 30, but at the time, we focused on a 10-year-old young man named Mighty Michael Mendelsohn, and he was friends with a Hall of Famer, a blues and rock Hall of Famer, Billy Davis, great guitarist. And that kind of was the center of our story, but we kind of focused on the whole scene as best we could. There's a lot going on in blues in Detroit that people don't realize, I think. Everybody always associates Chicago and Memphis or something, and those are great towns, but there's a lot going on in Detroit too. But anyways, so it was a blues film, and we got a bit of success with it, a little bit of film festival success, and also it aired a few times on Detroit Public TV and in Canada.
Okay, great. I know that Detroit has a lot of history, and I hear people who tell me they travel here. They traveled here to go to Baker's Keyboard Lounge, and they travel here to go to Bert's Place. And Bert's Place, of course, is just history making. And I remember the first time I ever went down to Bert's, the line to get in there was like all the way up and down the street, and it was just absolutely just chaos. And I had never been there, but since I've had a chance to be there a few times, it is a really great place. So
Lady Champagne. Lady Champagne does the blues there. She has a teeny tiny little part in Paradise Boogie.
Oh, wonderful. So tell me about the third one, please.
Okay, Lisa, you want to mention
Sure.
We Thrive?
So our third documentary is We Thrive, and it asks the question, can music heal? And we answer that question by having conversations with Armenian-American musicians, and
primarily from the Detroit
area. They all have a connection to Detroit. And we also are using archival photos and footage and live performances.
That is wonderful. And this is the film that's connected to history. Am I correct?
There's a lot of history in the film. It's a very personal film for us, being that we're both Armenian. And, I always understood, in any kind of creative endeavor, write about what you know. So, we kind of took that deep dive and into our heritage and thought, let's base something on of a personal nature. And, I think that's what we tried to do.
A little over 100 years ago was a massive genocide of Armenians. Over 1.5 million Armenians were murdered, and our own grandmothers went through, survived the genocide, but went through rough times, being driven through the desert. What we wanted to say in this film is that Armenian Americans, our culture is more than the history and trauma of a genocide, and that we thrive despite it. Now, that's personal to Armenians, but getting over past traumas is universal.
That's universal. And I think that really kind of ties in with what you're trying to do, Karen, with the great work that you do.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a lot of trauma, a lot of times that is connected to everyone's history. And when I first heard this story that Lisa shared with me before all of us talking, it's just really amazing to me, very amazing, if that's the right word, to hear how everybody's culture, our past, everybody has things that we have to try to overcome, try to
Mm-hmm.
understand, and then offer a way to be able to help people heal. You know, what I deal with and what we deal with working in counseling and therapy with a lot of different people, like in the people, when Black people, the people of color, we have a lot of stigmas, you know. Then you have the people that other people you work with, they generationally feel that they can't trust people, you know, and we have a lot of that. And all those kind of things come from people going through so much. And I try to help people understand, especially those people that I'm connected with in the African American community, that trust and everything can start right now. And you have to get over your trauma by dealing with the honesty of it, but don't allow anyone to just live in that past. And I feel the past should be acknowledged, definitely. Everyone's past should definitely be somewhat celebrated, because you hear a lot of people saying, I shouldn't be here based upon everything that everybody went through. So even with you all, your generations, somebody survived because you're here.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because you're
Yeah.
here. So it's always something to think about, and I think that is really rich and very good. So where are you now with the documentary? Is it being reviewed? Is it being seen? What's going on with it now?
Well, we got a few early review. There's a number of things happening now. We just are starting to get a submit to film festivals, so that's just getting underway around the world. Mostly in the U.S., but around the world to a few international film festivals. And we've had some advanced reviews in like filmthreat.com, very established and respected film review site, and they said it was essential viewing. You know,
Okay.
and some of the other reviews we've gotten have been very praiseworthy as well. So we've been humbled and honored by that. You know, like we're off to a good start. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
so we're hitting the film festival circuit. We've got a private screening coming up in the area soon, and uh, probably looking to maybe come the fall, maybe doing like a public premiere.
August or September.
Yeah.
We're thinking of a
Of this year.
public premiere. Yeah.
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And just for that public premiere, I'm going to make sure that we have a full crew and we can
Cool.
do interviews. We can do
Oh,
interviews on
wow.
the carpet of your choice, the color that you want.
Oh,
Miss
how
Vivian.
cool.
Oh, that would be wow, beautiful.
That would be great.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you know what I wanted to ask you? A lot of people have dreams of doing things. A lot of people have dreams of doing what we're doing now. People have dreams of making music. What would you say to someone that has a dream of making film or working with making commercials? I heard someone say something on TV lately that's a lot like what I've heard you all say. And because people always want to know, like, how did they do that? And I want people to understand it's not like you opened up your eyes today and said, I am a documentary filmmaker. Like, what can you tell someone that just really wants to get started? And they may be middle aged, they may be a little bit older, or even very young. What would you tell people to do?
Well, we both had regular jobs for 30 plus years, and we did a few smaller little video projects.
Some cable television and that kind of thing.
Yeah, music video, promotional video, but it wasn't until we both retired that we started making the full-length feature documentaries. Like I said, neither one of us went to film school or interned with anybody or worked in the field previously. It was just a class here, a class there, you know, watching videos, going to workshops, you know, self-taught. And basically anyone can do it at any age.
Yeah.
There's no stopping you.
If you got stories to tell, it's all about kind of framing your story, formatting your story to suit whatever. But everybody's got stories to tell, and also too, the technology is such now. There's where you can make a film in the palm of your hand with a camera. You got
your phone.
4K and 8K. Technology and stuff now, for video. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Yep. And, I was thinking about that one day. My daughter and I were talking about some of the things that are on television right now. And one big thing that we saw is the Pioneer Woman on the Food Network. She uses all cell phones for her show. All cell phones.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so
that's interesting.
I told people, yeah, she does, and she shows it on the show. She'll show her daughters and different people filming her, and it is so much easier because I remember stepping into this market. I remember stepping into the industry rather, and in media, even like you said, working with the cable channels and their little studios they had, and can you afford this camera, and can you afford to get film and do this? And now everyone has a cell phone. And even though a few of us remember when everybody did not have a cell phone, and we also remember when everybody could not call everybody or even dare take a picture or a film. I remember, when that happened, and now you can literally take your cell phone and record yourself doing something, even put music behind it and everything. So that's really good. Have you all ever considered doing like a film, like a little workshop or a talk to people about it? You're laughing, Lisa.
Well, we never thought about it formally, but I mean, we have a lot of stories, just from we could definitely speak from experience, You don't really think about it if you just kind of take a lot of things in stride because you're just busy. We've always just been kind of workaholics in that respect. But I guess if we stopped and really kind of formatted something in a class, let's say, I think we could probably show people a few things.
I suppose. I'm still taking workshops. Workshops to learn more.
Oh, yeah, we're always trying to educate ourselves.
So the thought of giving a workshop really hasn't occurred to me because I'm still taking workshops.
Right. And, and I'm thinking of like a talk, like something that you could just talk to a group of people and just encourage them. Don't worry, I'm trying to get it together for you. I'll be calling you.
One thing I want to say is I don't think there's enough education available in this realm for older people. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
because
everything's
geared towards teaching the youth. And, I really think there should be more for people who, say, just recently retired and they're looking for something to do, because a lot of times when you just retire, you're kind of like, okay, now what?
Or just people that, they have the notion of, I've always wanted to do this, but I don't know how to get started kind of attitude, And there's a lot of people out there that feel that too,
I'm sure. And like you said, for middle-aged or older people, there is a lot of time sometimes that people have. They have different hobbies. They like to travel maybe. And so they can look at how they can start documenting their travels on video journals, which would be very good. But it's always something, like you said, that has to be taught. I remember having classes to teach people, older people, how to get on the internet to send an email, and how to, and then you have to teach how to now do Zoom or do different things. And I guess a lot of people have become more accustomed to it because after the pandemic, of course,
Right.
everyone has learned how to do
Yes.
everything. So,
Right.
that's a lot. And that's something to think about. So I really appreciate, listen, I really appreciate your knowledge on your heritage. And, like I tell everyone, like Eric just said, there's always a story to tell. And no
Mm-hmm.
one's is worse, no one's is better. Um, I feel that for me, I have been fortunate enough to know a lot from maybe my dad's side of the family, and I don't know as much from my mom's side. But what I have found is I literally have um, a history of my great 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 somebody's uncles, probably there will be uncles who were in slavery, and letters that were written by one of them that talked about how he used to walk over to his wife's, where she was still a slave, at another plantation. And he would walk over
Wow.
there to help her build a fire every morning. And me and my cousins were reading that, and we were like, wow, this is just, it's so rich. And,
Yeah.
I really want
Mm.
people to start learning how not only to be concerned about others' feelings and seeing, but learn how to dig into your own history and find out the things that God wants us to see about it. And that's the best way I can
Mm.
say it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. And, so many people, and we just have to learn. So let me ask you guys this before you go. I ask everybody, what would you tell someone if someone came to you and said, I want to be gifted with a gift of a second chance? What would be your answer? How do you tell somebody? What would you
Mm.
tell someone who's looking for a second chance?
I would say every morning you wake up, you have a second chance. That's it. You wake
Yeah.
up in the morning, you've got a second chance. Go for it.
And that's a gift
For,
right there.
whatever mistakes you made, they're erased. You've got a new day, a new dawn. That's your second chance.
And it might be
Mm-hmm.
cliched to say, but I think we really believe that.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, for sure. And, that's part of what I teach. And the mantra came from me waking up one day and realizing, honestly, that it was the first time in over 15 years that I was looking through sober eyes. I had been on
Mm.
drugs and alcohol so long that one day I went outside and I looked in the air and everything was clear. And I said, wow,
Mm.
God gave me a second chance. And I believe that now. I tell people second chances don't have an expiration date. I say it over and over again. As long as you're here, you have another chance for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really appreciate you guys being on, definitely. And I want you to give some information about how people can contact you. And we will also have it on the bottom of the screen. So if you want anything that you want to share, if you want to do a website, your Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to do, the floor is yours.
Okay. I can mention our website. It's www.vision561.com.
And
Okay.
on Facebook, we Vision 561 has a Facebook page, as well as We Thrive Movie has a Facebook page as well.
Okay. And we're going to keep in touch with you all, definitely, with everything that's going on and coming up. We are looking forward to that opening, that premiere that you're going to have, and we're going to look for that to happen in the future. Thank you so much for you all being on. I really appreciate your time and your patience, and I look forward to seeing more soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks.
Thank, thank you. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Second Chance Living with Dr. Karen. Again, we've had a wonderful show, and I'm going to end with my mantra that's very important for everybody to remember. Every day you live is a second chance at life. Don't let it go by. Don't take it for granted, and take every moment, take a breath, and believe that you have that second chance. And just like Lisa just said, and Eric, every time you wake up, that's your second chance. Again, I'm Dr. Karen, and until next time, thank you so much for being a part of Second Chance Living with Dr. Karen.